The evening sun cast long shadows across the pristine grounds of Silver Ridge Country Club, where crystal chandeliers sparkled through floor-to-ceiling windows and uniformed staff arranged champagne flutes on sterling silver trays. The 10-year reunion committee had transformed the main ballroom into an elegant showcase of success, with professional lighting equipment positioned to capture every smile for the photographer already setting up his station near the entrance. Brandon Lexington stepped from his midnight blue Tesla Model S, the vehicle's quiet hum matching his satisfied expression as he surveyed the estate. His custom-tailored Armani suit caught the golden light filtering through ancient oak trees, while his Rolex Submariner glinted as he adjusted his silk tie. The investment banking firm where he worked as senior portfolio manager had just closed a $12 million acquisition, and tonight felt like the perfect opportunity to remind everyone exactly how far he had risen since graduation day. The passenger door of a pearl-white BMW X7 opened with mechanical precision, revealing Savannah Pierce as she emerged with practiced grace. Her designer dress flowed like liquid silver, complementing the diamond tennis bracelet that sparkled with each movement. The social media empire she had built around luxury lifestyle content now commanded six-figure sponsorship deals, and her Instagram account boasted 3 million followers who hung on every carefully curated moment of her seemingly perfect life. Carter Mills pulled his Range Rover Sport into the circular driveway with deliberate flair, the engine rumbling as he parked between two lesser vehicles. His real estate development company had just broken ground on a 40-unit luxury condominium project, and the commission from that single deal would fund his next vacation to the Maldives. He straightened his platinum cufflinks and smiled, knowing that tonight would provide excellent material for his next client dinner conversation about humble beginnings and extraordinary achievement. The final member of their high school quartet arrived as Logan Hayes guided his Porsche Cayenne into position with the casual confidence of someone accustomed to expensive machinery. His tech startup had recently secured Series B funding worth $18 million, and 3 major corporations were bidding for exclusive licensing rights to his artificial intelligence platform. The knowledge that he would likely be featured in next month's Forbes Under 30 article filled him with anticipation for the evening ahead. Brandon approached the others with the easy smile that had charmed teachers and classmates throughout their senior year together. "We certainly know how to make an entrance," he said, gesturing toward their collection of luxury vehicles arranged like trophies against the country club's marble facade. The valet staff moved with efficient precision, accepting keys while maintaining the respectful distance that money and success naturally commanded. Savannah pulled out her phone and angled it to capture their group against the estate's impressive backdrop, the golden hour lighting creating the perfect conditions for content creation. "This is exactly the kind of transformation story that resonates with my audience," she explained while adjusting the camera settings. "From small-town high school to living our absolute best lives. And tonight we get to document the whole reunion experience for everyone who wished they could be here." The 4 friends moved toward the entrance with synchronized confidence, their designer shoes clicking against the polished marble walkway, while other classmates watched with varying degrees of admiration and envy. Carter pushed open the heavy oak doors, revealing the transformed ballroom, where their former teachers and administrators stood ready to welcome the returning graduates with warm smiles and carefully prepared small talk. Logan surveyed the elegantly decorated space with an entrepreneur's eye for detail and opportunity. "This is going to be the perfect networking event," he observed, recognizing several faces that could prove valuable for future business connections. "Plus, we get to see how everyone else turned out after 10 years of real-world experience, which should be absolutely fascinating from a sociological perspective." The reunion committee had arranged professional name tags with senior year photos, creating an immediate conversation starter as classmates attempted to match current appearances with decade-old memories. Brandon, Savannah, Carter, and Logan collected their identification badges with amusement, noting how their professional headshots now radiated success and sophistication compared to the awkward teenage images preserved in yearbook pages. However, not everyone from their graduating class would be joining tonight's celebration. As the 4 friends settled into their natural positions near the bar area, Their conversation inevitably drifted toward those classmates whose absence spoke volumes about the different paths their lives had taken since receiving their diplomas together. "Remember Avery Cole?" Savannah asked with barely concealed amusement, her perfectly manicured fingers wrapping around a champagne flute. "That weird, quiet girl who used to sit alone at lunch and never talk to anyone unless a teacher forced group participation. I actually looked her up on social media last week, and she has literally zero online presence, which in today's world basically means professional suicide." Brandon's laugh carried across the room as he recalled their shared memories of high school social dynamics. "Captain Invisible herself," he replied, using the nickname they had coined during their junior year. She wore the same 3 outfits in rotation and carried that ancient backpack held together with duct tape, like she was advertising her family's financial situation to everyone who bothered paying attention. Carter swirled his whiskey while nodding in recognition of the conversation topic. "The girl who disappeared immediately after graduation without saying goodbye to anyone," he added. "No college plans, no job prospects, no boyfriend, no future that anyone could identify. I actually felt sorry for her sometimes, but you can only help people who want to help themselves, and she clearly preferred isolation." Logan adjusted his designer glasses and considered the sociological implications of their former classmates' choices. "She probably ended up in some dead-end minimum wage situation," he theorized with the confidence of someone whose own success validated his opinions about others. These reunion events always highlight the difference between people who seized opportunities and those who let life happen to them passively. The conversation continued as more classmates arrived and joined their growing circle near the bar, each new addition bringing fresh perspectives on shared memories and current achievements. Several people asked about missing classmates, particularly those whose absence seemed to confirm assumptions about their post-graduation struggles and failures. "Speaking of people we probably won't see tonight," Savannah said, while discreetly photographing the elegant reunion setup for her social media documentation. "I'm actually glad some of the more awkward cases stayed home. Imagine trying to explain to my followers why I'm posing with people who never figured out how to present themselves professionally or build meaningful careers." The professional photographer approached their group with practiced charm, recognizing immediately that these 4 represented exactly the kind of success story that would anchor his reunion portfolio. Their confidence, expensive clothing, and obvious prosperity made them natural focal points for the formal portraits that other classmates would treasure as proof of their association with achievement and upward mobility. Brandon straightened his tie and assumed the leadership position that had always come naturally during their high school years together. "Tonight is going to be absolutely perfect," he declared with satisfaction, surveying the elegant ballroom where their former teachers mingled with successfully transformed students. "Everyone who matters is here. Everyone who doesn't matter stayed away. And we get to celebrate exactly how far we've come since walking across that graduation stage 10 years ago. Have you thought about where you were back then versus where you are right now? It's incredible how much can change when you really commit to building something meaningful with your life. What kind of transformation have you experienced over the past decade? And where do you see yourself 10 years from now?" The 4 friends raised their glasses in a toast to their continued success, completely unaware that their perfect reunion evening was about to be interrupted by an arrival that would challenge every assumption they had made about success, failure, and the quiet girl they had so easily forgotten. The memory surfaced as clearly as if it had happened yesterday rather than a decade ago. Avery Cole sitting alone at the corner table in the school cafeteria, methodically eating a peanut butter sandwich while reading a paperback novel with a cracked spine. Her brown hair hung like a curtain around her face, creating a barrier between herself and the bustling social ecosystem that swirled around her daily, without ever including her in its complex interactions. Brandon remembered approaching that table during their sophomore year, flanked by his growing circle of admirers who treated his every word as entertainment gold. "Hey, Avery," he had called out loudly enough for surrounding tables to hear. "Nice outfit. Did your mom shop at the thrift store again, or did you find that sweater in someone's donation bag behind the church?" The memory brought satisfaction even now as he recounted it to Carter, who nodded with recognition of their shared adolescent cruelty. "She never fought back," Brandon explained while sipping his reunion cocktail. "Just looked down at her book and pretended we weren't there, which honestly made it even more fun because you could see her face getting red with embarrassment. Savannah joined their reminiscence with her own contribution to the Avery Cole highlight reel. "Remember when I asked her to homecoming dance as a joke during Mrs. Peterson's math class?" she said, pulling up an old photo on her phone that showed their entire class posing for a group picture. "She actually thought I was serious for about 5 seconds, and you could see this pathetic hope in her eyes before she realized the whole room was laughing at her." The photograph captured that moment perfectly, with Avery standing at the edge of the group wearing a faded blue sweater that had obviously seen better days, her expression caught between confusion and dawning humiliation. Her worn sneakers and carefully mended backpack stood in stark contrast to the designer accessories and name-brand clothing that surrounded her, like visual evidence of social hierarchy. Carter added his own memory to their collective recollection of systematic targeting. Senior year, when she finally got that job at the grocery store, he recalled with amusement, "I made sure to shop there every weekend just so I could go through her checkout line and comment on whatever generic brands she was buying with her employee discount. Ramen noodles, off-brand cereal, day-old bread marked down for quick sale." Logan's contribution focused on their graduation ceremony, where Avery had walked across the stage to collect her diploma with the same invisible demeanor that had characterized her entire high school experience. "She disappeared within minutes of the ceremony ending," he observed, probably because she knew nobody would want pictures with her or invite her to any of the graduation parties happening that night. The four friends had spent considerable time during reunion preparations speculating about what had become of their former classmate in the years since graduation day. Their assumptions painted a picture of continued failure and social isolation that validated their own success stories by comparison. "She probably lives in some rundown apartment complex on the wrong side of town," Savannah theorized while checking her Instagram engagement statistics on her latest luxury lifestyle post. "Minimum wage retail job, no college degree, no boyfriend, because who would want to date someone with that level of social awkwardness and complete lack of ambition or personality?" Brandon's investment banking background had taught him to analyze risk and probability, skills he now applied to predicting Avery's current circumstances. The girl who never spoke up in class discussions and spent every lunch period hiding in the library, he reasoned, probably lacks the confidence and communication abilities necessary for professional advancement in any meaningful career path. Their social media investigation had yielded no results whatsoever, which they interpreted as confirmation of their assumptions about her continued invisibility and irrelevance. Carter had searched Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter without finding any trace of Avery Cole's digital presence, a discovery that seemed to validate their expectations about her failure to adapt to modern professional and social requirements. The absence of any online footprint particularly amused Logan, whose tech startup success had convinced him that digital engagement served as a reliable indicator of personal and professional competence. "In today's connected world," he explained to the others, "being completely invisible online basically means you've given up on participating in society at meaningful levels." Their conversation attracted other classmates who shared similar memories of Avery's high school experience, each contributing additional details that reinforced the narrative of her social isolation and economic disadvantage. Several people recalled her habit of wearing the same 3 outfits in careful rotation, washing and mending them until they showed obvious signs of repeated repair. The library had served as Avery's refuge during lunch periods, where she would sit at the same corner table every day reading novels that she checked out using her free library card rather than purchasing from the school bookstore like other students. The librarian had often commented on Avery's voracious reading appetite, though none of her classmates had bothered to engage with her about her literary interests or academic performance. Mrs. Henderson, their former English teacher who now approached the reunion group with warm recognition, provided additional perspective on their shared memories. "Avery was actually one of my strongest students academically," she mentioned, though she always seemed to lack confidence in class discussions and social interactions with her peers. This revelation briefly surprised the four friends, who had never paid attention to Avery's academic performance beyond noticing her presence at the edges of their shared educational experience. However, they quickly dismissed the teacher's observation as irrelevant to real-world success, since academic achievement without social skills and family connections rarely translated into meaningful career advancement. Savannah began planning the social media documentation strategy that would capture their reunion triumph, while highlighting the contrast between their success and the absence of former classmates who had failed to achieve similar levels of professional and personal fulfillment. The content would focus on transformation stories, she explained, showing her followers how determination and social intelligence could overcome humble small-town origins. The professional photographer circulated through the ballroom, capturing candid moments and formal portraits, occasionally asking about missing classmates who might arrive later in the evening. Several people inquired specifically about Avery Cole, expressing mild curiosity about what had become of the quiet girl who had seemed to disappear completely after graduation. Brandon, Savannah, Carter, and Logan exchanged knowing glances when these questions arose, their shared assumption being that Avery had deliberately avoided the reunion because she felt ashamed of her lack of achievement compared to her more successful former classmates. This interpretation of her absence provided additional validation for their own accomplishments and social status. The betting pool they established focused on whether Avery would appear at all, with most of their group predicting that shame and embarrassment would keep her away from an event designed to celebrate professional and personal success. Carter suggested that even if she did attend, she would probably arrive late and leave early to minimize exposure to conversations about career advancement and adult achievement. Logan proposed using her potential arrival as content for Savannah's social media documentation, suggesting that respectful but pointed questions about her current situation would provide excellent material for discussions about different life paths and choices that people make after high school graduation. Their planning session continued as the reunion officially began, with more classmates arriving and joining conversations about shared memories and current achievements. The elegant ballroom, filled with the sounds of successful adults reconnecting over champagne and carefully curated success stories, while the absence of certain former classmates served as unspoken confirmation of the social hierarchies that had been established during their teenage years together. The registration table buzzed with activity as graduating class members checked in with the volunteer committee, collecting name tags and reunion programs while scanning the growing crowd for familiar faces from their shared adolescence. Margaret Stevens, their former class secretary, maintained detailed attendance records with the same organizational precision that had characterized her student government responsibilities a decade earlier. Brandon approached the registration area with confident stride, accepting his name tag, while simultaneously surveying the ballroom for networking opportunities and social positioning advantages. "The turnout looks incredible," he observed to Margaret, who beamed with pride at the successful event coordination. "I assume everyone who matters managed to make it tonight." Margaret consulted her meticulously maintained attendance list, cross-referencing confirmed RSVPs with actual arrivals to track the evening's success metrics. "We're at about 70% attendance so far," she reported enthusiastically, with several people still expected to arrive throughout the evening. Though some folks haven't responded at all, like Avery Cole, who we haven't heard from despite multiple invitation attempts. Savannah joined the conversation while documenting the elegant registration setup for her social media followers, capturing the crystal name tag holders and professional reunion materials arranged against the country club's luxurious backdrop. "Some people probably felt too intimidated to attend an event at Silver Ridge," she suggested with carefully modulated sympathy. "The venue alone sends a message about expectations and success levels." The observation sparked immediate interest from other classmates gathering around the registration area, many of whom had wondered about missing former students and the various factors that might influence reunion attendance decisions. Several people specifically asked about Avery Cole, expressing curiosity about what had happened to the quiet girl who had seemed to disappear completely after graduation ceremonies. Carter seized the opportunity to share his expertise about their former classmates' likely circumstances, drawing from the extensive speculation sessions he had enjoyed with his three closest friends. Avery was always pretty isolated during high school, he explained to the growing audience of interested listeners. Never participated in extracurricular activities, didn't have friends, wore the same clothes repeatedly because her family couldn't afford much variety. Logan added his own analysis to the discussion, positioning himself as someone whose professional success qualified him to evaluate others' life choices and outcomes. The girl who spent every lunch period hiding in the library probably lacks the social confidence necessary for events like this, he theorized. Some people peak in high school, while others never really learn how to function in adult social and professional environments. Their commentary attracted additional classmates who shared similar memories of Avery's invisible presence during their teenage years together, each contribution adding details that reinforced the narrative of her continued isolation and probable failure to achieve meaningful post-graduation success. The consensus emerged that her absence confirmed assumptions about shame and embarrassment preventing her from facing former classmates. Professional photographer David Martinez began setting up his equipment near the ballroom's grand piano, arranging portable lighting and backdrop materials that would capture the reunion's elegant atmosphere while showcasing the successful transformation of former students into accomplished adults. His presence reminded everyone that tonight's celebration would be thoroughly documented for posterity and social media sharing. Savannah immediately recognized the content creation opportunities presented by professional photography, approaching David to discuss collaboration possibilities that would enhance her social media documentation while providing him with additional promotional material. The resulting images would tell the story of small-town students who had achieved remarkable success through determination and strategic life choices. The cocktail hour officially commenced as servers circulated with champagne flutes and artfully arranged appetizers, creating the sophisticated atmosphere that reflected the graduating class's collective achievement and upward mobility. Conversations flowed easily among former classmates who now possessed impressive professional credentials and financial resources that validated their high school popularity predictions. Brandon's investment banking success provided natural conversation starters with classmates interested in financial markets and economic trends, while his designer suit and expensive watch served as visual confirmation of his expertise and achievement levels. Several people approached him seeking advice about retirement planning and college saving strategies for their own children. Savannah's social media influence generated equal interest from former classmates who wanted to understand how she had monetized her online presence into a sustainable six-figure business model. Her carefully curated lifestyle content had inspired thousands of followers while generating lucrative sponsorship deals with luxury brands and travel companies. Carter's real estate development company had become locally famous for transforming abandoned downtown properties into profitable commercial and residential spaces, making him a celebrity among former classmates who had witnessed their hometown's economic revitalization efforts. His business acumen had earned respect from competitors and city planning officials alike. Logan's tech startup success represented the entrepreneurial achievement that many of their former classmates aspired to replicate, making him a natural focal point for discussions about innovation, risk management, and the venture capital funding process. His artificial intelligence platform had attracted attention from major corporations competing for exclusive licensing agreements. However, conversations repeatedly returned to speculation about missing classmates, particularly those whose absence seemed to confirm high school social hierarchy predictions about future success and failure patterns. Avery Cole's name arose frequently during these discussions, with various theories proposed to explain her complete disappearance from both the reunion and any discoverable online presence. Margaret announced that several additional classmates were expected to arrive later in the evening, though she confirmed that Avery Cole remained completely unresponsive to invitation attempts through multiple communication channels. The revelation prompted renewed speculation about her current circumstances and the possible reasons for her determined avoidance of reunion activities. Someone suggested that financial constraints might prevent former classmates from attending events at expensive venues like Silver Ridge Country Club, where the reunion ticket prices reflected both the elegant setting and the anticipated spending power of successfully transformed graduates. This explanation generated sympathetic murmurs from attendees who remembered their shared small-town origins. Brandon dismissed such concerns with confident authority derived from his professional experience evaluating financial situations and investment potential. Anyone who really wanted to attend tonight would find a way to afford the ticket price, he argued. Success requires prioritizing important networking opportunities and social connections that can advance your career and personal brand development. The group photo planning session began as David Martinez tested his camera equipment and lighting arrangements, explaining that he wanted to capture the entire graduating class in a formal portrait that would commemorate their 10-year reunion celebration. The logistics required organizing approximately 60 attendees into an aesthetically pleasing arrangement that showcased everyone's professional transformation. Savannah immediately volunteered to coordinate the group photo positioning, drawing from her social media expertise about flattering angles and visual composition that would create shareable content for multiple platforms. Her experience with professional photography and brand presentation made her the natural choice to direct the collaborative effort. The discussion turned to whether they should wait for late arrivals or proceed with the formal photography, using only the attendees who had demonstrated sufficient commitment to arrive punctually. Several people advocated for proceeding immediately rather than delaying the evening's schedule for classmates who might never appear. Carter suggested that their group photo would actually benefit from focusing exclusively on the attendees who had achieved measurable success and could represent their graduating class with appropriate dignity and accomplishment. The image would serve as inspiration for their former teachers and community members who had invested in their education and development. A distant sound drifted across the country club grounds, barely audible above the ballroom's conversations and background music, but distinctive enough to catch the attention of several attendees who paused their discussions and glanced toward the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the golf course and surrounding estate property. The sound resembled aircraft engines, though the country club's isolated location rarely experienced air traffic beyond occasional medical helicopters serving the regional hospital network or news aircraft covering traffic conditions during peak travel periods. Most attendees dismissed the distant noise as unrelated to their elegant reunion celebration. Logan made a joke about hoping the aircraft wasn't carrying any former classmates who had achieved pilot licenses, since that level of dramatic entrance would overshadow everyone else's professional accomplishments and transportation choices. His comment generated laughter from nearby groups who appreciated the humor while continuing their conversations about career advancement and personal achievement. Margaret called for attention as the formal group photo session prepared to begin, asking attendees to gather near the ballroom's main entrance where David Martinez had positioned his professional lighting equipment. The announcement created gentle movement as 60 successful graduates arranged themselves according to height and visual composition requirements. Savannah began documenting the group photo preparation process for her social media followers, capturing behind-the-scenes content that would showcase the reunion's elegant organization and the impressive transformation of their former classmates. Her phone captured the sophisticated atmosphere and designer clothing that reflected their collective upward mobility. The distant aircraft sounds intensified slightly, though most attendees remained focused on the group photo logistics and positioning arrangements rather than investigating the source of the approaching noise. The evening's perfect atmosphere and celebration focus naturally drew attention inward toward their shared success stories rather than external distractions. Brandon raised his champagne glass in preparation for a toast that would commemorate their graduating class's remarkable achievements while acknowledging the absent classmates who had chosen not to participate in their reunion celebration. His leadership position within their high school social hierarchy made him the natural spokesperson for such ceremonial moments. The cocktail reception had moved outside onto the country club's wraparound terrace, where crystal champagne flutes caught the golden rays of evening sunlight filtering through ancient oak trees that bordered the meticulously maintained golf course. 60 successfully transformed graduates mingled with easy confidence, their designer clothing and expensive accessories creating an elegant tableau against the estate's pristine landscaping and architectural grandeur. David Martinez positioned his professional camera equipment to capture the outdoor networking session, recognizing that the natural lighting and sophisticated backdrop would produce stunning images for the reunion's commemorative album. His lens focused on animated conversations between former classmates who now possessed impressive professional credentials and financial resources that validated their adolescent popularity predictions. Brandon commanded attention near the terrace's marble railing, his investment banking expertise providing natural conversation starters with classmates seeking financial advice, while his Armani suit and Rolex Submariner served as visual confirmation of his authority on matters of wealth accumulation and strategic career advancement. Several attendees had already requested his business card for future consultation opportunities. The distant mechanical sound that had been barely perceptible inside the ballroom grew more pronounced in the open-air environment, though most reunion attendees attributed the noise to routine air traffic serving the regional medical center or news organizations covering evening rush hour conditions. Their focus remained concentrated on rekindling old friendships and establishing new business connections. Savannah documented the elegant outdoor reception for her social media followers, capturing the sophisticated atmosphere while narrating the transformation story that would inspire her 2.3 million subscribers to pursue their own professional development and lifestyle enhancement goals. Her designer dress flowed gracefully as she moved between conversation groups, collecting content that demonstrated the rewards of strategic ambition and social intelligence. Carter regaled interested listeners with details about his latest real estate development project, explaining how he had transformed abandoned downtown properties into profitable commercial spaces that revitalized their hometown's economic landscape. His Range Rover Sport gleamed in the circular driveway behind him, serving as tangible evidence of his business acumen and financial success. Logan's tech startup achievements attracted questions from former classmates curious about artificial intelligence applications and venture capital funding processes, while his Porsche Cayenne represented the material rewards of innovative entrepreneurship and strategic risk management. His confidence in analyzing other people's life choices stemmed from his own remarkable professional trajectory. Margaret Stevens announced that the formal group photograph would commence in 10 minutes. Allowing time for final touch-ups and positioning arrangements that would showcase their graduating class's collective achievement. The announcement generated gentle movement as attendees prepared to immortalize their reunion celebration with professional documentation. However, the distant aircraft sound continued intensifying beyond normal parameters for routine air traffic, prompting several attendees to pause their conversations and glance skyward with growing curiosity about the approaching mechanical noise. The sound possessed a distinctive quality that suggested military rather than civilian aircraft operations. A few guests near the terrace's eastern edge pointed toward the horizon where a dark speck had become visible against the deepening twilight sky, though most reunion attendees remained focused on their conversations rather than investigating what appeared to be routine helicopter activity in the distance. Their elegant celebration commanded immediate attention over external distractions. The approaching aircraft's sound signature grew unmistakably louder, forcing conversations to compete with the mechanical noise that now dominated the evening's acoustic landscape. Several attendees expressed mild annoyance that air traffic was disrupting their sophisticated reunion atmosphere, though they assumed the helicopter would pass overhead without affecting their outdoor reception. David Martinez lowered his camera and squinted toward the approaching aircraft, his professional photographer instincts recognizing that something unusual was developing in their perfect reunion setting. The helicopter's flight path appeared deliberately directed toward the country club rather than passing through the airspace en route to another destination. The mechanical sound reached conversation-stopping intensity as the aircraft became clearly visible approaching the estate's grounds with obvious landing intentions. Reunion attendees turned their attention skyward with growing alarm as they realized that routine air traffic had transformed into a direct approach toward their exclusive venue. Logan attempted a nervous joke about helicopter parents arriving to crash their reunion celebration, though his humor failed to mask the underlying tension as 60 graduates watched an unmarked military helicopter circle the country club's pristine property while apparently searching for suitable landing coordinates on the perfectly maintained golf course. Country club staff emerged from the building with expressions of panic and confusion, their usual composure shattered by the unprecedented situation of military aircraft approaching their exclusive private property without authorization or advance warning. The head groundskeeper began frantically calling estate management while gesturing toward the circling helicopter. Margaret Stevens clutched her reunion planning materials with visible distress as she realized that their carefully orchestrated celebration was being disrupted by circumstances completely beyond her organizational control. The formal group photograph would obviously be delayed until this inexplicable aviation situation could be resolved through proper channels. Savannah instinctively raised her phone to document the surreal development for her social media followers, recognizing that viral content often emerged from unexpected moments that disrupted carefully planned events. Her influencer instincts activated as she began recording the helicopter's approach while providing live commentary about the bizarre interruption. The Apache attack helicopter completed its reconnaissance circle and approached the golf course's expansive fairway with military precision, its twin engines creating downdraft that bent the ancient oak trees and sent champagne napkins swirling across the terrace like confetti caught in a windstorm. The aircraft's imposing presence dwarfed the country club's elegant architecture. Brandon's investment banking confidence evaporated as he realized that their sophisticated reunion celebration was being overshadowed by dramatic circumstances that reduced their professional achievements to mere background noise. The helicopter's commanding presence made their expensive cars and designer clothing appear suddenly insignificant. Carter stepped backward from the terrace railing as the aircraft's rotor wash intensified, creating downdraft that threatened to disrupt the carefully arranged outdoor reception area, while transforming their elegant gathering into chaotic spectacle. His real estate development expertise provided no framework for managing military aviation emergencies at exclusive social events. The Apache helicopter settled onto the pristine fairway with mechanical precision, its landing gear compressing the manicured grass, while rotor blades continued spinning at reduced velocity. The aircraft's matte black hull bore no identifying markings beyond military designation numbers that meant nothing to the civilian reunion attendees watching from their safe distance. Estate security personnel arrived at the terrace perimeter carrying radio equipment and emergency protocols, their training activated by the unprecedented situation of unauthorized military aircraft landing on private country club property. Their supervisor began coordinating with local authorities while maintaining visual contact with the landed helicopter. Complete silence replaced the earlier conversations and background music as 60 graduates watched the Apache's engines power down to idle, the mechanical noise gradually diminishing until only the soft whisper of rotor blades cutting through evening air remained audible across the golf course's expansive landscape. The helicopter's cockpit canopy opened with hydraulic precision, revealing a figure in complete military flight gear whose movements demonstrated the professional efficiency that characterized elite aviation personnel. Helmet, flight suit, and equipment harness created an intimidating silhouette against the aircraft's imposing bulk. Professional photographer David Martinez raised his camera with trembling hands, his instincts recognizing that he was witnessing an extraordinary moment that would define this reunion's legacy while providing content that transcended typical graduation celebration documentation. His finger hesitated over the shutter release as he processed the surreal scene. The figure climbed from the cockpit with athletic grace, boots connecting with the fairway's damaged turf as military bearing became evident in every movement. The pilot's stature appeared smaller than expected for such an intimidating aircraft, though the flight gear obscured physical details and personal identification. Brandon, Savannah, Carter, and Logan clustered together near the terrace railing, their earlier confidence replaced by confusion and growing unease as they attempted to process circumstances that challenged their understanding of normal reunion parameters. The elegant celebration they had planned to document had transformed into something completely unprecedented. Reunion attendees gathered along the terrace's length, creating an impromptu audience for whatever revelation would emerge from this extraordinary disruption of their sophisticated evening. Their expensive clothing and professional credentials seemed suddenly irrelevant compared to the dramatic mystery unfolding before them. The military pilot reached up and began removing the flight helmet with deliberate movements, revealing hair that caught the evening light as the protective gear lifted away. The action created suspense that held every reunion attendee in breathless anticipation of discovering who possessed the skill and authority to command such an impressive aircraft. The helmet came free completely, revealing features that triggered recognition waves rippling through the crowd of former classmates. The quiet girl they remembered from high school cafeteria corners had returned to their reunion celebration with credentials that challenged every assumption they had made about success, failure, and the different paths their lives had taken since graduation day. Avery Cole stood beside the Apache helicopter in complete Army aviator uniform, her bearing transformed by a decade of military training and combat experience that had forged the invisible teenager into a decorated officer whose achievements dwarfed every professional accomplishment represented at their elegant reunion celebration. The pristine golf course bore fresh scars from the helicopter's landing gear, while damaged oak branches testified to the rotor wash that had disrupted the country club's perfect landscaping. However, the physical destruction paled compared to the psychological impact of recognizing their former classmate as the pilot of such an intimidating military aircraft. Complete silence enveloped the terrace as 60 successfully transformed graduates struggled to reconcile their memories of quiet, invisible Avery Cole, with the confident military officer now walking across the damaged fairway toward their reunion celebration with purposeful stride that commanded attention and respect from everyone who witnessed her dramatic arrival. Avery Cole walked across the damaged fairway with measured stride, her military flight boots crushing the pristine grass, while 60 former classmates remained frozen in stunned silence along the country club's terrace. The Army aviation uniform fit her transformed physique with professional precision, captain's bars gleaming on collar points that caught the evening light filtering through oak branches bent by rotor wash. The quiet girl they remembered from cafeteria corners had been replaced by a confident officer whose bearing commanded immediate attention and respect from everyone witnessing her approach. Her movements carried the purposeful efficiency that characterized elite military personnel, while her calm expression suggested complete comfort with dramatic entrances and high-stakes situations. Brandon found his voice first, though his usual social confidence had been shattered by circumstances that challenged every assumption he had made about success hierarchies and post-graduation achievement patterns. "That's quite an entrance, Avery," he managed with forced casualness, attempting to regain conversational control through humor that fell flat in the charged atmosphere. "Did you borrow that helicopter from someone, or is this part of some elaborate reunion prank?" His question drew nervous laughter from several attendees who desperately wanted to believe that their sophisticated celebration could return to normal parameters once this extraordinary interruption was explained through rational means. However, Avery's professional demeanor and obvious familiarity with military aviation equipment suggested that simple explanations would not suffice. Savannah raised her phone instinctively, her influencer training activated by recognition that viral content often emerged from moments when ordinary events collided with extraordinary circumstances. Her social media followers expected authentic documentation of unexpected developments, though she struggled to comprehend what narrative would emerge from this surreal situation. Carter stepped forward with real estate developer confidence, his business experience providing frameworks for managing unusual situations through direct communication and problem-solving approaches. "Avery," he said with careful diplomacy, "we're all obviously surprised to see you tonight, and we'd love to understand what brings you here in military aircraft to our reunion celebration." The question hung in the evening air as other classmates gathered closer to hear Avery's explanation for her dramatic arrival and the circumstances that had transformed their invisible former teammate into someone who commanded Apache helicopters with obvious authority and skill. Their curiosity outweighed their confusion as they awaited her response. Avery's smile carried warmth that contrasted with her intimidating arrival, though her professional bearing remained evident in every gesture and expression. "I apologize for disrupting your evening," she replied with voice that projected confidence earned through years of military training and combat experience. "My leave schedule required specific timing, and this was the only way to attend your reunion while meeting my deployment obligations." Her explanation prompted immediate questions from attendees who recognized that military leave policies and deployment schedules suggested active duty service rather than reserve participation or civilian contractor work. The implications of her words began shifting their understanding of her current circumstances and professional achievements. Margaret Stevens approached with reunion planning materials clutched against her chest, her organizational instincts seeking clarification that would help restore structure to their carefully planned celebration. Avery, she inquired with gentle curiosity, are you currently serving in the military, and would you like to update your reunion information to reflect your current career? The innocent question opened pathways for revelation that would transform their gathering's entire dynamic, while forcing former classmates to confront the dramatic gap between their assumptions and reality. Avery's service record represented achievements that dwarfed every professional accomplishment represented at their elegant reunion celebration. Logan's tech startup confidence prompted him to ask more specific questions about her military aviation background, his entrepreneurial curiosity seeking details that would help him process the extraordinary transformation of their former classmate. How long have you been flying helicopters? He inquired. And what type of missions do you typically handle in your current assignment? Before Avery could respond, the distinctive sound of approaching vehicles drew everyone's attention toward the country club's main entrance, where military personnel carriers were arriving with official markings and radio equipment that suggested coordination with the helicopter landing. The vehicle's presence confirmed that her arrival involved official military business rather than personal transportation choices. Two uniformed soldiers emerged from the lead vehicle and approached the reunion gathering with professional bearing that commanded immediate respect from civilian attendees. Their ranks and decorations indicated senior enlisted personnel with combat experience, while their deference toward Avery revealed her superior officer status within military hierarchy. Sergeant First Class Rodriguez saluted Avery with precision that startled reunion attendees who had never witnessed formal military protocols in person. Captain Cole, he reported with crisp efficiency, Colonel Martinez sends his compliments and requests confirmation of your departure timeline for tomorrow's mission briefing at 0600 hours. The formal address electrified the reunion crowd as they processed the revelation that their former classmate held captain's rank in the United States Army, with responsibilities that included mission briefings and deployment schedules that interrupted personal leave for official obligations. Her military credentials exceeded every assumption they had made about her post-graduation circumstances. Staff Sergeant Williams stepped forward with additional information that would further transform their understanding of Avery's achievements. Captain Cole, he continued respectfully, the ground crew has completed post-flight inspection of your aircraft and confirms readiness for tomorrow morning's departure to fulfill your next assignment with the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. The unit designation sent ripples of recognition through attendees familiar with military special operations, while others quickly accessed their smartphones to research the significance of assignment to such elite aviation units. Their searches revealed that the Night Stalkers represented the most prestigious helicopter pilots in the American military system. David Martinez raised his camera with trembling hands, recognizing that he was documenting an extraordinary reunion moment that would define their graduating class's legacy, while challenging every stereotype about high school social hierarchies and adult achievement patterns. His photographer instincts activated as he captured images of Avery surrounded by military personnel and stunned classmates. Professional curiosity prompted several attendees to ask more detailed questions about her military service, particularly the combat experience that earned assignment to Special Operations Aviation units known for supporting the most dangerous missions in American military operations. Her calm responses revealed years of deployment experience in Afghanistan and other combat zones. Captain Cole has completed 4 overseas deployments, Sergeant Rodriguez explained with obvious pride in her achievements, including the Yemen operation where she piloted a damaged Apache through sustained enemy fire to extract 12 Marines from an overrun position. Her actions earned the Distinguished Flying Cross and saved multiple lives during one of the most dangerous rescue missions of that deployment. The revelation stunned reunion attendees who struggled to reconcile their memories of quiet, invisible Avery with accounts of her flying damaged aircraft through combat zones while under direct enemy fire. Her heroic service record represented sacrifice and achievement that transcended every measure of success they had discussed during their elegant celebration. Savannah's social media documentation shifted dramatically as she recognized that her reunion content would now focus on military heroism rather than lifestyle transformation stories. Her phone captured Avery's professional interactions with military personnel, while her mind raced to process the implications of her former classmates' extraordinary service record. Brandon's investment banking confidence crumbled completely as he realized that his financial achievements paled compared to Avery's combat service and life-saving actions under enemy fire. His expensive suit and luxury watch seemed suddenly insignificant next to military decorations earned through genuine sacrifice and heroic performance. Carter's real estate development success felt hollow when measured against Avery's record of saving lives in combat zones, while Logan's tech startup achievements appeared trivial compared to her responsibility for conducting dangerous rescue operations in hostile territory. Their professional accomplishments had been recontextualized by exposure to genuine heroism. Staff Sergeant Williams continued providing details about Captain Cole's service record that further elevated her status among former classmates who had dismissed her as a failure. She has logged over 2,000 combat flight hours, he reported, and currently serves as lead pilot for classified special operations missions requiring the highest security clearances and tactical expertise. Other reunion attendees began expressing genuine respect and curiosity about military service, their questions reflecting appreciation for sacrifice and dedication that protected civilian freedoms they enjoyed daily. Several people thanked Avery for her service while acknowledging their previous ignorance about the realities of military deployment and combat operations. Margaret Stevens requested permission to update the reunion records with Avery's correct military rank and service information, recognizing that their documentation should accurately reflect the extraordinary achievements of their graduating class members. Her organizational instincts sought to honor Avery's service through proper recognition and record-keeping. The professional photographer approached Avery with requests for formal portraits that would capture her military service alongside the Apache helicopter that had delivered her to their reunion celebration. The images would serve as historical documentation of their class's most remarkable transformation and achievement story. Sergeant Rodriguez checked his watch and reminded Captain Cole about her early morning departure requirements, while other military personnel began coordinating security procedures for the helicopter that would remain on country club grounds overnight. Their professional efficiency demonstrated the serious nature of her military obligations. Avery's gracious acceptance of her former classmates' newfound respect contrasted sharply with the dismissive treatment they had provided during their high school years together. Her character had been forged through military training and combat experience that emphasized service before self, creating humility that enhanced rather than diminished her impressive achievements. The reunion's entire social dynamic had been transformed by recognition that their most dismissed former classmate had achieved the most meaningful success through military service that required genuine sacrifice and heroism. Her accomplishments provided context that reduced their professional achievements to appropriate proportions while inspiring appreciation for different definitions of success. Brandon, Savannah, Carter, and Logan found themselves relegated to observer status as other reunion attendees gathered around Avery with questions about military life and expressions of gratitude for her service to their country. Their earlier dominance of reunion conversations had been replaced by genuine interest in someone whose achievements transcended personal advancement. The arrival of additional military vehicles transformed the country club's circular driveway into an impromptu command post, as uniformed personnel established security perimeters around the Apache helicopter while maintaining respectful distance from the reunion celebration that continued on the terrace. Their professional efficiency demonstrated the serious nature of Captain Cole's military obligations and the classified operations that commanded such resources. Colonel Patricia Martinez emerged from the lead vehicle with the bearing of someone accustomed to command authority, her dress uniform displaying ribbons and decorations that reflected decades of distinguished military service. Her presence immediately drew attention from reunion attendees who recognized senior officer rank even without understanding the specific significance of her various commendations and awards. The colonel approached Avery with military precision, returning the salute offered by Captain Cole before extending her hand in greeting that combined professional respect with obvious personal warmth. "Captain," She began with voice that carried easily across the terrace, where former classmates strained to hear every word. "I apologize for interrupting your reunion celebration, but I wanted to deliver this news in person rather than waiting for tomorrow morning's briefing." Her statement created anticipation among attendees who sensed they were witnessing something significant beyond routine military communication. The colonel's decision to travel personally to deliver information suggested importance that transcended normal operational updates or administrative announcements. Avery maintained military bearing while accepting whatever news warranted such high-level personal attention, though her expression reflected curiosity about developments that would prompt the colonel to visit civilian venues during off-duty hours. Her former classmates watched with fascination as they witnessed professional military interaction between decorated officers. Colonel Martinez smiled with satisfaction as she prepared to share information that would further elevate Captain Cole's already impressive service record. "The promotion board results were finalized this afternoon," she announced with obvious pride, "and I'm pleased to inform you that your advancement to major has been approved effective immediately, along with assignment to lead the new training program for Special Operations Aviation personnel." The promotion announcement electrified reunion attendees who realized they were witnessing a historic moment in their former classmate's career, while the leadership assignment confirmed her recognition as one of the military's most capable and trusted aviation officers. Her advancement represented achievement that validated years of dedicated service and combat excellence. "Major Cole," the colonel continued with formal precision, "your new position will involve developing curriculum for the next generation of special operations pilots, drawing from your extensive combat experience and proven leadership capabilities. The assignment reflects the military's confidence in your expertise and commitment to excellence in training future aviators." Professional photographer David Martinez captured the promotion ceremony as it unfolded, recognizing that he was documenting an extraordinary moment that would define this reunion's historical significance. His camera recorded the interaction between senior officers, while former classmates provided backdrop for military recognition that transcended typical graduation celebration activities. Savannah's social media documentation shifted into overdrive as she realized that her reunion content would now include exclusive footage of military promotion ceremony conducted at luxury country club venue. Her phone captured every moment while her mind processed the viral potential of content featuring unexpected military honors and dramatic helicopter backdrops. Brandon approached the group with obvious reluctance, his investment banking confidence completely undermined by exposure to genuine achievement and military recognition that dwarfed his financial accomplishments. "Major Cole," he began with careful formality, "I need to apologize for our behavior during high school and tonight's assumptions about your circumstances." His attempted apology drew attention from other former classmates who recognized the significance of someone from their popular crowd acknowledging past cruelty and current misjudgment. The moment represented potential redemption for years of systematic targeting and dismissive treatment that had characterized Avery's teenage experience. Avery's response demonstrated the character development that military service had fostered through years of leadership training and combat experience. "Thank you for saying that, Brandon," she replied with professional courtesy that neither accepted nor rejected his apology outright. "Though I hope you understand that high school experiences shaped who we became, and I've moved beyond needing validation from that time period." Her gracious but distant acknowledgement effectively dismissed their shared past while maintaining dignity that prevented further escalation or uncomfortable confrontation. The response demonstrated emotional maturity that had been developed through military training, emphasizing mission accomplishment over personal grievances or historical resentments. Savannah attempted her own apology approach, recognizing that her social media presence could benefit from association with genuine military heroism rather than superficial lifestyle content. "Major Cole," she said with influencer sincerity, "I realize our high school treatment was inappropriate, and I'd love to feature your service story on my platform to honor veterans and inspire my followers." The offer represented Savannah's attempt to monetize Avery's achievements for content creation purposes, though her motivation remained transparently self-serving rather than genuinely respectful. Her proposal to exploit military service for social media engagement revealed the continued shallow thinking that characterized her approach to meaningful accomplishments. Avery politely declined the social media collaboration while maintaining professional courtesy that avoided creating uncomfortable scenes during their reunion celebration. "I appreciate the thought," she responded diplomatically, "but my service is personal rather than promotional, and I prefer maintaining privacy about military operations and experiences." Her refusal to participate in social media exploitation demonstrated values that prioritized service integrity over personal publicity, creating contrast with former classmates whose achievements were primarily designed for external validation and professional advancement. The distinction highlighted different approaches to success and recognition. Carter and Logan offered similar apologies that received equally gracious but detached acknowledgement from Avery, whose military experience had provided perspective that reduced high school social dynamics to their appropriate insignificance. Their attempts at redemption felt hollow compared to the genuine respect expressed by classmates who had treated her with basic human dignity. Other reunion attendees approached with authentic curiosity about military life and genuine gratitude for service that protected freedoms they enjoyed daily. Their questions about deployment experiences and aviation training reflected sincere interest in understanding sacrifice and dedication rather than seeking social media opportunities or professional networking advantages. Professional photographer David Martinez requested formal portraits featuring Major Cole in flight gear beside the Apache helicopter, recognizing that such images would serve as historic documentation of their graduating class's most remarkable achievement story. The photographs would capture military excellence against country club backdrop for posterity. Country club staff gathered at respectful distance to witness the unprecedented events that had transformed their elegant venue into backdrop for military ceremony and reunion celebration beyond their usual experience parameters. The head groundskeeper surveyed fairway damage with resignation, understanding that such destruction represented small cost for witnessing historic moments. Colonel Martinez checked her watch and reminded Major Cole about early morning departure requirements that would return her to duty obligations and classified mission preparation. The reminder emphasized that her reunion attendance represented brief, personal leave from serious military responsibilities that commanded national security priority. Major Cole expressed gratitude to former classmates who had welcomed her warmly, while maintaining professional bearing that reflected years of military training and combat experience. Her composure throughout the evening demonstrated character development that had transformed teenage invisibility into adult leadership and confidence. The Apache helicopter's engines began spinning up as military personnel prepared for departure, creating rotor wash that once again disrupted the country club's landscaping while providing dramatic conclusion to evening's extraordinary events. The mechanical sound served as a reminder of Major Cole's return to duty obligations that transcended civilian celebrations. Margaret Stevens coordinated final group photographs that would document the reunion's historic significance, ensuring that Major Cole's attendance and military recognition received appropriate commemoration in their official records and memorial materials. Her organizational skills adapted to accommodate circumstances far beyond typical reunion planning parameters. Social media explosion began immediately as reunion attendees shared footage and photographs across multiple platforms, creating viral content that showcased military heroism and challenged assumptions about high school social hierarchies. The documentation spread rapidly through networks amazed by transformation stories and dramatic helicopter arrivals. The reunion's conclusion emphasized understanding that genuine success required service and sacrifice rather than personal advancement and material accumulation. Major Cole's achievements provided context that reduced professional accomplishments to appropriate proportions while inspiring appreciation for different definitions of meaningful contribution. Brandon, Savannah, Carter, and Logan found their earlier social dominance completely undermined by exposure to authentic achievement and heroic service that highlighted the shallow nature of their success metrics. Their reunion experience had been transformed from celebration into education about genuine character and meaningful accomplishment. Major Cole approached the Apache helicopter for departure, her military bearing unchanged despite the evening's revelations and recognition. Her final wave to former classmates demonstrated gracious acknowledgement while maintaining professional focus on duty obligations that awaited her return to service. The helicopter's takeoff created final rotor wash that scattered reunion decorations and damaged additional landscaping, providing lasting evidence of the evening when their most dismissed classmate returned as decorated military officer whose achievements dwarfed every measure of success they had previously considered meaningful. As the Apache disappeared into darkness toward military installations and classified operations, reunion attendees processed the transformation of their celebration from superficial success documentation into genuine appreciation for service and sacrifice. The evening had redefined their understanding of achievement and character development. Have you ever experienced a moment when your assumptions about someone were completely shattered by learning their true story? Tonight's reunion taught everyone that real success often happens quietly, through service to others rather than personal recognition. What achievements in your own life bring you the most genuine pride? And how do you define success beyond material accomplishment? Social media criticism began emerging within hours as reunion footage spread nationwide, with viewers condemning the shallow behavior and assumptions displayed by former bullies whose superficial achievements appeared pathetic compared to Major Cole's heroic service record. The viral content served as cautionary tale about judging others based on appearance and past circumstances. The country club's most memorable event in institutional history would be remembered not for elegant celebration or professional networking, but for the evening when military heroism interrupted luxury, gathering, and redefined success through demonstration of genuine character, sacrifice, and dedication to service above self.